It's timely that we're discussing this because I have some lingering questions about the Dre Greenlaw suspension. Because in my mind, the wall is always physical contact with officials, and we've seen, even speaking of great running backs, Walter Payton got ejected from a game in 1980 for grabbing an official's arm after he objected to a call. So not even the great Walter Payton was immune from being sent to the showers if you cross that line of contact. What is it about what Dre Greenlaw did in accosting verbally Brad Allen following the Broncos win over the Giants that resulted not just in a fine, but a suspension?
I mean, you see the video here. We've been talking about sportsmanship for a few years. It's the core of our game. And here, as a player, this is a great moment to celebrate the victory. Look at what you all just accomplished. You marched the ball. You should be celebrating what Bo Nix just did. You should be celebrating with the kicker, but here is just this is selfish. And Brad Allen's post-game report here, Mike, he wrote that up, that this abusive language, this threatening language was one that is just like, there's just no place in the game for that. This is a wonderful moment to be celebrating with the sold-out crowd. The place erupted, is what we want to see every week in the game. And to run and chase somebody down, just like, we're just better than that. The game's better than that. We know that's not being coached, and it just rose to that level. But really, Brad Allen's post-game report was just like, we need to take obviously a closer look. We know that there was some contact with, I think it was Justin, number 40, and each one of those are just isolated. But when you look at, and I would ask, people say, well, what did he say? I think we should ask Dre that. Maybe he shared with his coach what was actually shared. But there's just no place in the game to run an official down after a game, to share your feelings is game's over. Celebrate the victory.
Well, and it's funny too, because Chris Sims and I were discussing this yesterday. I want to know what he said just because I'm curious. Sims' position was pretty simple. Just watch the video. It's not like he was giving him a cake recipe. Like, whatever he was saying, it wasn't pleasant. The words don't really matter. You can tell from the demeanor, and that seems to be, at least if I'm understanding you, that's the reason he was suspended. The way he accosted him, the way he approached him, it clearly was something that was abusive and threatening. And you mentioned Justin Sternad, because if you do the Sabruder film of that video, it looks to me like he applies an aggressive hand to the back and turns and says something. I try to understand, because in my mind, contact is the line you can't cross. How does he not get suspended and Greenlaw does?
Well, he'll be held accountable, so that will come in a fine for him. But we really focused in on just that verbal abuse, what was said, and the Brad Allen's in his report. He didn't share. We all saw some of the contact, but we really focused in on someone who wasn't even involved in the play. And again, that situation, Mike, it puts everybody in the bind, because now you're in a hearing, and the staff, the PA, who can defend what we saw? Like, celebrate the victory. It's so hard to win during this time on the game day, and there's just no place in the game for that.
And I also think it's part of the message that the NFL wants to send to all lower levels of sport. We've seen incidents post-game at the youth level between coaches and officials. We don't need that to happen. And I think if you take a strong stand with the Dre Greenlaw, maybe it sends a message to the other levels of the sport.
So, Mike, if I can add, is we see it at every level. It's just, we talk about what you tolerate, you won't change. Like, there has to be this level of respect that you have for your opponent, towards your teammate, towards the official, at every level. And we're not perfect. It's not a perfect game. Completely understand the emotions. But then there's a level of just like, we have to conduct ourselves. It's not about where you're from. It's about where you're at and who you're representing. And that's yourself, your family, your team, your teammates. And we just owe it to everyone that has come before us to just make sure that we're upholding, we would say, the standards of sportsmanship. As Willie Lanier share with me, and I've shared this story multiple times with folks. When I first came into this role, Troy, whatever you do, you cannot make this a blood sport. It's a sport played by professionals. Everyone wants the same thing. They want to make, play hard, have success, individual team success, but you cannot allow certain things. I hear that ringing in my ear with Coach Madden, and that's what we're looking for. We're just better. We can be a good example for what sportsmanship is. Go at one another in between the whistles, and after the game, you shake hands, you pray together, and you move on to the next week.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.